Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 1st December 2020. So let us see which are the important articles straight away. So these are the important articles from today's newspaper for mains purpose and for prelims purpose. We will see one by one and take input for our examination. So first article on page number 6, editorial. So context of the article, yes, such kind of articles we are having follow up almost every week now. And recently the central government, new home ministry has issued new guidelines for this December month and the winter, the season that we need to be cautious about because of, let's say, the risk involved of more infections spreading of coronavirus. So that's why the government has come up with new guidelines for the states, like center has mandated states to declare the containment zones online, identifying them with micro targeting to minimize the impact. So basically the guidelines tend to assure that we need not to, let's say, put down our guard here, and along with that it also ensures that the economic activities are also continued. Okay, so yes, it also prohibited any lockdowns in at states and city levels without prior consultation with the ministry. So here a very good point is that at city level, one complete city level or complete state level lockdown cannot be issued solely by the government without any consultation with the home ministry. Okay, so why do we need to be cautious? Some arguments are given, like almost 3/4 of the new infections are concentrated in 8 states and union territories including Delhi. The encouraging results from the vaccine trials and likelihood of early emergency use authorization have weakened the voluntary action. So voluntary action, in a sense, the citizens are yielding to the pandemic fatigue. At the same time, they are considering that now vaccine is going to be launched soon and therefore we need not to worry about it. तो उन्होंने जो है वो जो हम बोलते हैं social distancing norms and we can say hand hygiene and the sanitization and universal masking that we need to have in place till the effective vaccine is launched, or we can say every person is vaccinated. So for that purpose we need to understand that the government should continuously provide or effectively communicate to the people for that purpose to ensure the voluntary action is not weakened. Health authorities must reinforce the message that low-cost interventions such as masks, good ventilation and distancing norms cannot be abandoned. So ये जो हम बोलते हैं कि reinforce message through effective communication and continuous communication, we can say. So what should be the way forward here? The prime task before the health administrator is to convince the average citizen that there is much to be gained through inexpensive lifestyle modification. So basically here we need to let's say understand, or the government has a role to communicate to the common man that after infection of coronavirus it is heavily, let's say, impacting on the health of the people, and somehow it impacts the has the economic burden of on the people also, and along with that it brings somehow stress in the family, and therefore the inexpensive lifestyle modification through these things like using mask or hand sanitization frequently, social distancing norms to be followed, ये modification करने चाहिए. Okay, like you can give some facts and references to some studies in support of your argument, like a study of 131 countries published in the Lancet estimated the benefits of restricting group gatherings to 10 people and how reducing physical attendance at workplaces could bring down the reproductive numbers by 38% in 1 month of these infections. Along with that, universal masking with 90% of compliance is projected to reduce deaths dramatically. Let's say another University of Washington study. So such studies have evidently explained or shown that using such let's say mask or social distancing norms can dramatically or drastically reduce the deaths and infection rates. So the central government has rightly prioritized targeted containment but it should standardize testing protocols across the states and not dilute the message of safe behavior by laboring over the point of recoveries and low per million fatalities. So the government should not continuously emphasize on these things, rather the government should continuously reinforce the message of low cost intervention. Yes, so this is the follow up again. Let us go to the next article, the perils of deregulated imperfect agri markets. So yes, earlier we discussed about how the three important laws that the present government, union government has passed in the parliament in the September month, and how they seeks to bring changes especially in the agricultural markets and the entry of private infrastructure or private investment in the marketing of food grains. So basically, though the intention of the government is good, but the article is saying that it will not be effective. At the same time, the farmers who are protesting at present, their concerns needs to be addressed by the government, and this is what the article is also providing some way forward in the end. So let us try to understand them. A similar kind of question earlier also we talked about on one of the article, discuss the concerns raised by the farmers towards new farm laws passed by the union government recently, and what measures should government take to address those concerns. Okay, so yes, what is given in this article? So yes, in first part it is saying that by taking one example of among those three acts, like Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion Facilitation Act. So it is discussing through this act that how marketing of food grains, or how it is focusing on investment by the private sector in marketing of food grains by establishing new mandis and providing farmers new choices to sell in those mandis and explore the new prices of their produce, or we can say that effective prices. However, it is saying that much of the food grains are not sold in those mandis, and it is also saying that such kind of investment by private sector will reduce importance of mandis, and somehow in some state that will also negatively hamper the, let's say, mandi infrastructure and all these things. So let us try to understand what is given here. Okay, so view of the government on recent farm laws. What are the intentions here? Private markets will be established, middlemen would disappear, farmers would be free to sell and to any buyer, and let's say farm gate prices would rise. So this is the intention for which the government has come up with these laws. The protesting farmers do not accept these claims. What they are saying, or what are their concerns here? They believe that farm gate prices will fall with the intensification of corporate presence in the agriculture market. They also believe that the government ultimately wants to phase out MSP system, minimum support price. So these are the important concerns of the farmers, and that's why they are protesting. And along with that, there are other concerns also. Yesterday also we discussed one of the editorial. So through this one of the example of this act, how this article is discussing, let us try to understand. Okay, so yes, an important assumption behind this act is that mandis controlled by APMCs of the states are monopolies in rural areas. So this is the assumption. However, the official data shows that even for paddy and wheat, respectively, only 29% and 40% of the harvest is sold in mandi. So we can say that less than 50% of the food grains or cereals they are sold outside the mandis at present itself. Okay, so why it is let's say the government should not presume such thing that it is the monopoly of mandis in rural areas. Okay, the farmers are forced to sell outside the mandis for two reasons. One is that there are not enough mandis available. Okay, so the farmer is not having that much incentive. Second reason, most of the small and marginal farmers, given their small marketable surplus, do not find it economical to bear transport cost for their harvest, and therefore they sell to the immediate trader in the rural areas or in their village itself. So they end up selling their harvest in the village trader only at lower price. So basically it needs to expand the network of these mandis. Okay, so this is the main argument here. So the freedom to sell outside the mandis already exists in many states. So though the government, central government has same intention, many states had already brought such reforms. Already 18 states have allowed establishment of private markets outside APMCs. So some of the states are progressive in such reforms, and they have linked some of the mandis with the national market itself through ENAM. तो ऐसे रिफॉर्म्स पहले से ही लिए जा रहे हैं, राइट, स्टेट्स में. The reason for poor private investment in markets is the presence of high transaction cost to produce collection in produce collection and aggregation. So private investment in the market will not be there even though after passing this act. Why? Because the private sector will not find any incentive to invest in, let's say, such infrastructure, because already such kind of produce is to be transported to those mandis. तो ये जो produce collection and aggregation का जो task होगा, that will be very costly. Okay. So along with that, many commentaries treat taxes in mandis as wasteful. This assertion is not fully true. Why? Because much of these mandi taxes are reinvested by APMCs to improve market infrastructure. So that will be acting as a disincentive if we are reducing the role of those mandis. Second, in states like Punjab, the government charges market committee fee and rural development fee, and that fee is used to construct rural roads, medical facilities, dispensaries, rural, let's say, drinking water supply, and all these things. So basically, ultimately that fee or that taxes by the state government or APMC committees or their boards, they are being used for infrastructure development or other such activities wherein the farmers can or to facilitate farmers to improve their access to these mandis. Okay. So yes, MSPs would continue to survive on paper, as the government will have to procure to maintain minimum buffer stock. This is the responsibility of the government under, let's say, legal aspects also. However, many policy signals point to the strategic design to weaken the MSP. This is the concern by the farmers. First, input and labor costs are rising sharply in agriculture, and this necessitates regular upward revision of MSP to keep pace with cost of living. However, MSPs are rising at a far slower rate over the past 5 to 6 years than the past. तो MSP जो है रेट उसका बढ़ने का कम है as compared to the cost of living. We can say that जो हम बोलते हैं कि input cost जिसको बोलते हैं, labor cost है या other cost. Okay, so fertilizer, seed cost and all these things. Second aspect, the government has not yet agreed to fix MSPs at 50% above C2 cost production. So this was actually recommended by CACP, and that has not been, let's say, kept with the actual, let's say, what we can say, this MSP rate that should be announced at 50% above the C2 cost of the production. तो इसको ये जो फॉर्मूला है अपडेट करने का MSP को बढ़ाने का, वो नहीं हो रहा है, ठीक है. And as a result, farmers continue to suffer the price loss of that amount. Third, the Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices, CACP, has been recommending the government that open-ended procurement of the food grains should end. Now this is one of the concern, that the such kind of open-ended procurement is costing FCI or government much amount, because it is procuring much more than its buffer stock limits. Okay. तो ये प्रॉब्लम बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट द गवर्नमेंट अल्टीमेटली आइदर रिलीजिंग इनटू द मार्केट और exporting those food grains. Okay, because it does not have that much amount of infrastructure being created, and ये infrastructure से excess में वो buy कर रहे हैं. Okay, so what should be the way forward here? The way forward, it is saying that there is need of increase in density of mandis and expansion of investment in mandi infrastructure and spread of MSP system to more regions and crops. ये काफ़ी important है, because at present this MSP system is skewed towards Punjab, Haryana and western UP region and not eastern states. At the same time, it is skewed towards particular crops like wheat and rice cultivation and not other crops. तो वो होना चाहिए जो है other crops के लिए और other regions के लिए MSP. Second, we need not to just more mandis but also better mandis. APMCs need internal reforms to ease entry of new players, reduce trader collusion and link them with the national e-trading platforms like ENAM, Electronic National Agriculture Market. So ये होना चाहिए so as to farmers realize the good price for their produce. Okay, so from this article you can take input to address or answer that question. Try to let's say make notes out of these articles, arguments in favor of those laws, arguments against those laws. Next article, from prelims perspective, IR as well as culture. So recently we know that there was a virtual, let's say, Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. So in that summit and virtual exhibition was let's say launched by our Vice President Venkaiah Naidu during that meeting of SCO Council heads of the government meeting on 30th November 2020. The exhibition, which is curated by National Museum Delhi, can be accessed at this website. Buddhist philosophy and art of Central Asia connects SCO countries with each other. तो IR के लिए ये statement काफ़ी important है, international relations. When we talk about those let's say relations of India with Central Asian republics, so Buddhist art is very important, and here it is mentioning Gandhara and Mathura schools of Buddhist art. So this becomes important for your art and culture part for prelims as well as mains. So there are some differences in these schools of arts, Buddhist schools of arts. So we need to know about them. What are these? Like rain. So in which rain they flourished? So Kushana rain and Kushana rain. Another important, let's say, school of art is Amravati school of art. तो उसको ज़्यादा हम compare नहीं कर पाएंगे. So that's why we have not took that aspect here. Present location near Peshawar, Pakistan, Mathura, UP. So Gandhara art developed in Peshawar and surrounding region. Outside influence in the school of art, here in Gandhara art, Greek influence. Okay, Macedonia or Greek influence was more at that time, and here it is completely indigenous, no external influence. Religious influences, mostly this was largely completely a Buddhist art form. However, here the influences from all three religions at that time in India, Jainism, Hinduism and Buddhism. Okay, in Mathura school of art. Material used for, let's say, sculpture. So this school of art was for sculpture. You need to know about this. So various sculpture of Buddha and related sculptures were, let's say, formed or created at those schools or in that area. Grey sandstone was used in Gandhara school, red sandstone was used in Mathura school. So what were the features of Buddha? The comparative aspect can be asked in your examination, like spiritual Buddha, sad Buddha, bearded Buddha in Gandhara school. Okay, at the same time Buddha in yogi posture. So here the Buddha's or the sculpture was less ornamentation but greater detailing was done. But in Mathura school, smiling Buddha, shaven head and face, graceful posture of Buddha and seated in Padmasana. So these important features of Buddha sculpture, and here in Mathura school the sculpture was surrounded by two monks, Padmapani and Vajrapani. So Padmapani was holding the lotus, Vajrapani was holding the Vajra, that is thunderbolt, and there was halo around the head of Buddha. ठीक है, तो ये है फीचर्स मथुरा आर्ट के. एंड व्हाट वेर द ग्रीक इन्फ्लुएंसेस इन द स्कल्पचर हियर ऑफ बुद्धा? वेवी हेयर, लार्ज फोरहेड एंड लॉन्ग ईयर्स. So such kind of comparative analysis you need to know about prelims as well as mains examinations. So for practice purpose, which of the following is or are features of Mathura school of Buddhist art? Okay, so in that art school we know that smiling Buddha was there, use of red sandstone, and bearded Buddha. No, this is art of Gandhara school, right? And Buddha seated in Padmasana. Yes, so 1, 2, 4. So answer is D here. Okay. Next, rare turtle rescued from Assam market. So yes, some of the fish market or such wildlife markets are there in Northeast India, and one of the, let's say, important or endangered species of turtle was rescued recently, Indian peacock soft shell turtle. So Indian soft shell turtles are vulnerable according to IUCN status, and their habitat is freshwater rivers in Bangladesh, India and Pakistan. Okay, so that turtle species was rescued by one of the, let's say, academician, and that's why it was in news here in the Hindu. So Indian peacock soft shell turtles, so उनका IUCN status आपको पता होना चाहिए. Vulnerable or endangered, critically endangered and extinct species. So you need to know about them and their habitat. Then you can talk about the threats. So threats you can talk about like this wildlife trade, poaching, and let's say for consumption purpose, for ornamentation purpose. तो ये सारे उसके threats है. Fine? Okay. Some important facts and data on page number 7. Sometimes the Hindu team analyze that in the graphs form, like this one, corruption in India. So some data that has been analyzed, data from Transparency International. What it is doing here is it is talking about some comparison of India with other countries, and then in India itself how services are disrupted, like chart shows the bribery rate in essential public service and India's position in each of them, like police or IDs, utilities, public health center, public schools. Okay, along with that, bribe for vote, as many as 18% in India said that they had been offered bribes or special favors to vote for party in national, regional and local election in past 5 years. तो ये फैक्ट आप जरूर मेंशन कर सकते हो. Along with that, share of such people was highest in Thailand and 4th highest in India among the Asian nations surveyed. So you can see here 18%. Fine. So some of the inputs can be taken. This data can be used as in support of your arguments and analysis, be it in essay, be it in, let's say, GS2 paper. करप्शन का बात करनी है आपको GS2 पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस में, और इफ यू टॉक अबाउट लेट्स से करप्शन इन एथिक्स पेपर GS4 आल्सो. फाइन. ओके, so yes, these were important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. Try to take input for both prelims as well as mains examination. For further information on editorial discussion classes or ED classes wherein in-depth analysis of mains related issues and articles is done by Ansari sir and team, you can contact Lukman IAS. Thank you.